is in the bricks and mortar of their own home. Buying a car is a long way back in second place. But even if you lived in a house as grand as this, there is one car that can match the value of your home. The Jaguar XJ220. There's been talk recently about some buyers trying to sell their deposits for the Jaguar because the bottom's fallen out of the supercar market. So if you put down your $50,000 a few years back simply to cash in on a quick profit, you're going to be disappointed. But if you bought your XJ220 for the ultimate in driving pleasure, you just can't lose. We've all heard the expression that something feels like $1 million. Well, this is $1 million, and it feels great. The driving position is excellent, with seat, steering and pedals all in line ahead. There's plenty of luxurious leather all around you, and enough instruments and controls to keep a Concorde captain happy. There's plenty of headroom for anyone up to about 6'3" tall, which means that only people like Jeremy Clarkson can't fit in. Shame. Now, the 220 doesn't just give pleasure from the inside. It's a delight to look at, even at a standstill. It really is one of the most beautiful cars ever created. And it carries forward those classic Jaguar lines from the 50s and 60s. Unfortunately, underneath the skin, there's precious little room for practical things like luggage. Under the front, it's all fans and radiators. In the middle, it's all engine and gearbox. And in the rear, no room for my golf clubs. Now, the best way to understand why there is so little room is to see how the 220 is put together in the factory. The cars are assembled in Jaguar Sport's new facility in Bloxham near Banbury. The bodies, fully built and painted at Abbey Panels in Coventry, are made of aluminium honeycomb, not the high-tech composite used in Jaguar's racing cars, but plenty strong enough to pass the statutory crash test with flying colours. The engines are built by Tom Walkinshaw Racing at Kidlington. With the gearbox and double wishbone rear suspension, they hang from an aluminium subframe that's offered up to the underside of the body. It's encased in a rear undertray, moulded to form Venturi tunnels designed for optimum downforce. That's where the luggage space goes. The huge rear tyres cost £890 each, and there's no room for a spare, so you have to rely on a canister of mousse to get you home if you have a puncture. All 350 cars should be completed by the end of next year, so there'll be one a day rolling out of Bloxham throughout 1993 to provide their lucky owners with some serious motoring in exchange for that asking price of over £400,000. Manoeuvring the car, you're very aware of its 7'3" width, but out on the road you get used to it in no time. Visibility all round is generally very good, but I didn't like the wipers and reflections intruding into the view through the windscreen. But all this is soon forgotten once you open the throttle and the twin-turbo, quad-cam, 24-valve, 3.5-litre V6 provides you with over 540 horsepower. Like many people, I'm disappointed that the original V12 engine has been dropped, but Jaguar found they couldn't get over 500 horsepower from it and meet the ever tighter emission controls. Besides, the V6 is lighter and more economical, even though the turbos rob it of a decent exhaust howl. The car itself is fairly heavy to drive. There's no power assistance for either the steering or the brakes, with the brakes in particular needing a lot of muscle power to slow the 220 down. The suspension is really very good indeed, soaking up the bumps on country lanes with ease. But I wasn't too concerned about reaching top speeds, but a trip to a racing circuit would give some idea about the car's high-speed performance. Now, the main reason to go out on a racing circuit is to really be able to use this tremendous horsepower. On the road, you find that there's a fair amount of lag when you suddenly demand acceleration in second gear. There's just, whoa, that momentary lag. But of course, when you're using the engine at high revs all the time, most of that lag is going to disappear and we can really see some high-speed motoring. There's also going to be a fair amount of braking around a racetrack like Alton Park with its beautiful country-like turns and twists. Down to the hairpin with second gear. Gradual application of the throttle, then this acceleration in second to 90 miles an hour. Third gear takes us right through to 130 almost. And then in fourth gear, we're already up to 140 before we need to brake heavily down into this tight chicane. Power. I love it. First impressions of the handling of the car, it's actually a lot more nimble than the weight of the car and the size of the car. Here we're cornering at, what, 100, 110 miles an hour with beautiful poise. Even these slower, tighter corners in second gear, the car turns in well and then accelerates with just a hint of oversteer coming at the end of the corner. All in all, it's been a wonderful experience to be the owner of a Jaguar XJ220, even if only for a couple of days. It really is a most beautiful car to drive, but I have to admit that it's more refined racing car than sophisticated road car, and it's only really at home when it's let loose at speed.